Hello, everybody. Welcome to another session of learning. Let's learn together. Every human being is a born genius, and every single one of us have enormous untapped creativity, and we fail to use very often. And now we know that we all live in a creative world, and everything what we have today, it is because how creatively or how effectively we have used our mind. One should know that whatever we do, how we effectively use our mind will help us to make our future brighter. In this session, we'll learn how to be creative by developing our subconscious mind. Let's jump to the PC and see how it can be done. We know that in terms of goal setting, in terms of planning for the future, in terms of our aspiration for our income, in terms of things that we want to accomplish, we can never have any more than we have today simply by sweating harder. In the old days, the basic rule was that you worked harder and hammered away. If you weren't getting results, what you did was work harder still, and this has been passed down to generations. Every child is born with remarkable aspects of creativity. As a matter of fact, in some of the studies they have looked at, they found that 95% of the children tested between the ages of 2 and 4 test out as highly creative. They are highly creative in the sense that they are imaginative, innovative, and curious. They have tremendous capacity for abstract reasoning and for creating imaginary images. For Einstein, curiosity was the engine that drove his creativity. Curiosity is the catalyst for questioning, and questioning what propels us to seek out the unfamiliar and the unknown. Curiosity is the fuel for creativity. To prosper and succeed, curiosity is the hallmark of creativity. Testing the same children at the age of 7 years, they found that only 4% are creative. In the period between the early years and the age of 7, children are continually discouraged from being creative and innovative and letting their imaginations run rampant. Children are constantly told that this is foolish or silly, or that you must write down between the lines, or that you should not touch that which smells or tastes, and this gets into that, and children gradually learn at a deep subconscious level that the straying away from the path is not smart. It's not smart to try to look at, touch, taste, or feeling things that mommy and daddy don't approve of. Ralph Waldo Emerson said that we live in the lap of immense intelligence, and he described that immense intelligence as though it were an ether that surrounded the earth, like a huge mainframe computer into which every one of us can tap. This has been called throughout all of history things like the oversoul, infinite intelligence, the universal subconscious mind, or the collective consciousness, or the collective conscious. Now let us learn about this aspect of human creativity as the superconscious mind. This superconscious mind is so much faster than our intelligence. It is something that we use on a random and haphazard basis all the time. Have you ever had an experience of working on a problem or trying to achieve a goal, or you are wrestling with some dilemma, and as you are walking or driving along, an idea shoots into your mind like a bolt, and it's a perfect idea? Have you ever had the experience, for example, of thinking about someone and then receiving a phone call from them? We have examples of this all the time, where we have these almost unearthly phenomena. One of the blue that seemed to indicate that we can tap into the different form of intelligence than anything that is taught in the textbook. There is a book by Richard Bucks called Cosmic Consciousness, where Buck goes back several hundred years to the most creative man and woman of all time and finds that virtually every single one of them spoke about in their writing an ability to tap into the higher form of consciousness, which is superconscious mind. Richard Buck categorizes consciousness into simple consciousness, self-consciousness, and cosmic consciousness. Cosmic consciousness is superconsciousness. Now let's understand in detail the key characteristics of superconscious mind. The first characteristic is the source of all pure creativity. All great geniuses, all great innovations, and all breakthroughs in human history have come as a result of superconscious functioning. Ralph Waldo Emerson is the one of the authors who has written almost using the subconscious function. Emerson said that he never wrote anything of his own volition, but he just simply acted as a conduit for this oversoul or this infinite intelligence, or it will pour through him and the words will flow out onto paper. Word perfection flows through his mind as if you were connected to an unearthly power source. Edison, the great inventor of the modern age, used this superconscious capability repeatedly to tap into higher power and use it to produce inventions and insights. And so every one of us had the occasion of using this superconscious creativity. When we are going through our day-to-day lives and we see a product or a service that we think should be used or that somebody should be producing. Sometimes we wonder why somebody doesn't offer this or that, or why somebody doesn't invent this or that, and that then 2 to 3 years or 4 years later we see a major corporation come out with exactly the product that we thought of 2 or 3 or 4 years ago, and to make millions and millions of dollars. The issue with our creativity isn't that we don't have the same insight as geniuses, but rather than this, one minor difference, that is that the geniuses trust and believe in the value of their insights, in the value of the thoughts and the ideas that come to them, whereas we don't, and we think these ideas can't be of any use. Only it can be from me, it's my idea, and so we wait to see somebody else produce the idea, which may not even be as good as the one we originally had. We say, isn't that person intelligent? Look what a wonderful idea that comes up. Many of us believe that our creativity is limited by our IQ, that is the number of years of education we received or the grades we received in the school. In some ways, creativity is reserved for scientists, artists, musicians, painters, poets, and writers. The fact of the matter is that creativity is very simple concept, and to boil it down to its simplest words, all creativity is simple way of improving the existing way of doing things. Every creation is an important, and to the degree to which we can find ways to improve the way we do things in any area. We are creative individuals, and the more we use our imagination, the more we exercise a muscle and the more we have. The second characteristic of a superconscious capability is that it brings us ideas that lie outside of our own experience. Often we will get new ideas that come totally from the outside the experience, education and knowledge that we had in the past. This is why most of the great breakthroughs in science and technology today are coming from small corporations and individuals working in private research laboratories. Very of the few breakthroughs come from the big companies. The big companies will take the breakthrough and develop and commercialize them. But almost invariably, these breakthroughs are coming from the people who never have been in the field before. To understand this, let me tell you the true story of a small boy who came to the scene of an accident. The police had cordoned off the road and the bridge where the truck driving at 40 to or 50 miles an hour had tried to drive under the bridge and became stuck underneath the bridge. The traffic was cordoned off and the several tow trucks were trying to pull the truck out from under the bridge. The little boy came to the edge of the crowd and asked one of the policemen, "What's going on?" The policeman said, "Well, the truck is stuck under the bridge." He said, "What are they doing?" Police officer responded that they tried but were unable to extract it. The truck was too solidly jammed under the bridge. So the little boy looked past the policeman and looked up at him and said, "Why don't they let the air out of the tires?" And the policeman looked down at him and he looked back at all those men trying to pull the truck out from under the bridge. And he shook his head and went back down the hill, and that's exactly what they did. They simply let the air out of the truck tires and backed out as easily as pie. The little boy could see things from a different perspective, and every single one of us had that capability. The superconscious mind is the source of all creativity, all intuition, all flashes of insights, and the ability to see things as in a brand new way. The superconscious mind is source of new ideas that help us move towards goal attainment, and the superconscious mind is available to each one of us like a power source that we plug into simply by finding the plug. The superconscious mind is invariably triggered by the clarity of definition and decisiveness. The more decisive and clear we are about what we want to accomplish, what problem we want to resolve, the more rapidly the superconscious capability goes into work to bring the answers into our lives. The third characteristic of superconscious mind in terms of goal-oriented motivation is that it relates ideas and energy for goal attainment. If you have ever had the experience of working on something, you know what I mean, that you were excited about, that you were emotionally involved in something that you wanted, or something that inspired you. You remember that at that point you seem to have a continuous flow of ideas and energy. You seem to be bubbling with energy. Sometimes you could go on with only 4 or 5 hours of sleep at night. Sometimes your mind would just crackle with ideas. You had this feeling of continuous excitement, like sometimes you could barely sleep. This is an example of superconscious energy. It releases free energy from the atmosphere and makes it available to us to enable us to move towards the goal attainment. The fourth characteristic of superconscious is that it responds to clear authoritative commands. And the clear authoritative commands we give to our subconscious capability are in the form of positive affirmation. Every time we send an affirmation from the conscious mind to subconscious mind, we trigger the superconscious mind into action. That's why whenever we say, "I like myself," I mean it. I feel terrific. I earn $50,000 a year. I earn $50,000 a year. This strong emotionalized affirmation drive down into the subconscious and trigger the superconscious into action. That's why we find that man and woman are continually talking and thinking in an excited, positive way. The goals that they want to accomplish seems to have a continuous stream of energy, enthusiasm, and ideas that move them toward the accomplishment of those goals. The fifth characteristic of superconsciousness is that it operates best in the spirit of faith and acceptance, which means that the harder you don't try, the more rapidly the superconscious brings you the ideas of and solution that you require to achieve the goals you programmed into the subconscious. In all creative work, mental effort defeats itself. Creativity cannot be forced. Creativity invariably favors a relaxed mind. When we talk in mental programming about how important it is to relax, take a deep breath, get a clear mental picture of what you want to accomplish, and just absolutely believe with complete confidence that if you can keep that clear mental picture, it will come to you exactly when you are ready for it. The more you believe in it and trust that you are moving in the direction of your goal, while your goal is simultaneously moving towards you, the faster it appears to work, the harder you try to force it, the less effective it is. In the Bible, it says, whatever you desire when you pray, believe that you have it and you will have it. If you believe you already have the goal accomplished and just confidently expect, this is one of the most powerful pieces of advice for self-confidence and positive thinking. Each step takes care of itself, which triggers the superconscious mind to work. The sixth characteristic is that the superconscious grow in capability as it is used and believed in. The more that we believe that it is working for us, the more rapidly it works. And you will find a very interesting thing when you begin using this superconscious capability. Just as with getting a muscle into shape, if you have not done physical exercise for some time, it will take a while before you limber up and loosen up and can use the muscle in a particular sport. When you have warmed up and gotten yourself into good physical condition, you find that you can play longer. You can engage in the sport for hours without fatigue. So you can do more and more with greater and greater flexibility and adaptability. It is the same way with this superconscious capability. The more you use it, the faster it works, the better it works, until it finally gets to the point where you can think of a goal or put a problem up into the subconscious annals, get it, response, sometimes within minutes, sometimes so fast that it will stagger you. The seventh characteristic is of the superconscious mind is it also contains all monitor circuit, which means that we can use the superconscious for pre-programming. Many people can wake up in the morning without an alarm clock. This is an ability that everybody has. They can program their minds to wake up within 1 minute of a specific time. Whether they are in a pitch black room, whether they have gone to bed early or late, whether they have crossed time zones, and every time their mind goes off like a little alarm clock, wakes them up at the exact moment they programmed into it. Nobody needs alarm clock. The only reason we use alarm clock that we doubt this superconscious capability. The eighth characteristic is the degree of belief and confidence that we have in the superconscious functioning is the exact degree to which it functions. If our belief is total, the subconscious mind functions totally and continuously. If your belief is half true, then it functions half as well. Our belief accounts for 10% of our total, it only functions 10% of the time. It's controlled by our mind. This can be experienced when you want to park your car. If visualized a particular parking spot and you believe you will get the same, then there are good chances that you will get the spot. The more belief and confidence you have in your subconscious mind, the more effective and successful it will be. The superconscious mind has the separate computer which will bring you exactly the answer you require to solve your problem or achieve your goal at the right time. The subconscious mind knows I am better than you, and the most important thing you can do is listen when the answer comes to you. You must act on it immediately. You must immediately implement the intuition, the flash of insight, the ideas or the answer that comes. To you, many times when we were working on a problem or a goal, we had the idea for something to do and we talked about it. I'll do that tomorrow, or I'll get on that first thing in the morning. That's good idea, but I'll start it on the Monday. When we start on Monday, we find that it's too late. Then when we call the person or do the thing, we find that the person says, you should have called me last week because I had exactly the solution that you required. So when you have programmed a goal into your subconscious mind, when you get an intuitive flash or an idea of what to do to move towards the goal, it is essential that you act on it immediately, without hesitation. Pick up the phone, develop that sense of urgency and move quickly on it. Sometimes it's only seconds or minutes away from being too soon or it's too late. And when you get those golden gems of superconscious insight, you must act instantly. And the more rapidly you act on those insights, the more insights you will get. And I have seen successful people who have no other competence or ability at all except the ability to trust their subconscious capability and to act. Every time they get an answer, they instantly build enormous fortunes and become outrageously successful, regardless of their lack of education, intelligence, ability, or other benefits or advantages. By simply plugging into the superconscious capability, they have gotten all the answers they needed to build enormous companies. So far, we delved into the 8 characteristics of superconscious mind. Let us learn the 5 important steps to activate this superconscious mind. The first master method of activating the superconscious mind is solitude. Most people have never spent an hour in solitude in their own entire life. The very thought of doing it makes him very uncomfortable. And yet, solitude throughout the ages has been the most powerful way to tune directly into the massive mind and look at mainline ideas and information from the subconscious. And the way that you do it is, first you go into the silence for 30 to 60 minutes. You must just go and sit somewhere perfectly silent for 30 to 60 minutes. And after the 30 minutes point, what will happen is that idea will start to flow through your mind like a river, almost like a boat in a gentle pond with the idea you need to solve a biggest problem. Or do you achieve your most important goal by docking it in your mind and having it there crystal clear every time you sit quietly in solitude for 30 to 60 minutes? You will get ideas that may save you years of hard work. Listen to still small voice within. The second method of activating our superconscious mind is to listen to your intuition. Earl Nightingale once said, and when and who began to listen to their intuition, if you do, you will never make another mistake. So never make another mistake if you listen to that inner voice, because the inner voice will always be true and will always be correct. So we say activating the subconscious mind by intuition. The third method is to define the problem or goal clearly. Gather information, talk to other people, do as much research as possible. Don't try to figure it out yourself. Concentrate single-mindedly on the problem. Don't try to do whole bunch of other things. Do one thing at a time. Focus on one thing. The fourth method is keep focusing on this problem. One goal, one obstacle and then release it and get your mind busy elsewhere. If after you have done all these things and gathered all the information, you cannot think of things to do, just turn your mind somewhere else and let your superconscious mind work. At a certain point, day or night, the answer will just pop up. Finally, bring the thought, plan, or idea held in the conscious mind into reality. The basic operating principle of superconscious mind is this: any thought, plan, goal, or idea held continuously in the conscious mind must be brought into reality by subconscious mind, whether positive or negative. And this is why it is so extremely important for us to always keep our minds focused on what we want to happen and talk, think, visualize, and imagine only that which we desire to come into our lives. Because our lives are nothing more than the expression of continuous conscious thoughts. And you will find that in the experience of every successful man or woman who has ever lived, they have sooner or later developed it and have kept their minds rigorously disciplined and focused on what they want to happen rather than what they fear. Any thought, planned goal, or idea held continuously in your conscious mind must be brought into reality by subconscious mind. The only question is whether you want to have the discipline and control, perseverance and persistence, and determination to keep your goal, ambition, and aspiration in the forefront of your mind long enough for them to become a reality. That's the only thing that you must do, and everything else will take care of itself by immutable law. This is the most important encapsulation of the law of success that you will ever hear. That's all. These are the 5 methods how you can activate your superconscious mind. Let us quickly wrap what we have covered so far or today. Every human being is a born genius. Every single one of us has enormous untapped reserves of creativity which we habitually fail to use. Every child is born with remarkable aspects of creativity, and curiosity is the hallmark of creativity. We live in the lap of immense intelligence. Superconscious mind is so much faster than our intelligence. Only thing is that you have to tap the right resources. Now let's go to the characteristics of superconscious mind. It is the source of all pure creativity. It means all great creative geniuses, all great innovations, and all breakthroughs in human history have come as the result of superconscious functioning. Second, it brings us ideas that lie outside of our own experience. Often we get new ideas that come today or totally from the outside the experience, education, and knowledge that we have in the past. The third one is superconscious mind in terms of goal-oriented and motivation. Gather information, talk to other people, do as much research as possible to achieve your goal. The fourth one is it responds clear, authoritative commands. We give to our superconscious capability in the form of positive affirmation. The fifth characteristics of superconscious mind that it operates best in the spirit of faith and acceptance. Creativity cannot be forced. Creativity invariably favors a relaxed mind. The sixth characteristics of superconscious mind is it grows in capability as it is used and believed in. You have to believe in your capability. You have to believe in your superconscious mind. The seventh one is we can use superconscious for pre-programming. I have given an example of that car parking, wherein it is very clear that if you pre-program your mind to get a particular slot in the car park area, surely you will get. There are more chances that you will get it. Higher the belief, the eighth one, higher the belief and confidence is the subconscious mind, more accurate it will be. The more belief you got and more confident you got in your superconscious mind, the more accurate it will be. Let us go to the 5 methods of activating the superconscious mind. First one is the master method of activating the superconscious mind is solitude. Solitude throughout the ages has been the most powerful way to tune directly into the massive mind and look at mainline ideas and information from the subconscious. The second method is listen to your intuition. Listen to the inner voice, because inner voice will always be true and will always be correct. So we say activating the subconscious mind through intuition. Third method is define the problem or goal clearly. Gather information, talk to other people, do as much research as possible. This will help the subconscious mind to give more ideas and inputs. Fourth method is keep focusing on one problem, one goal, or one obstacle, and then release it and get your mind busy elsewhere. And the last method of activating superconscious mind is bring the thoughts, plan, or idea held in the conscious mind into reality. Any thought, plan, goal, or idea held continuously in the conscious mind must be brought into reality by subconscious mind, whether positive or negative. That's all for in this session about superconscious mind or how to become creativity. It will help you in problem solving. With this, I'll close this today's session. Before I close, I will request to like, share and subscribe to my channel. Share it with your friend, share it with your relative, so that maximum people can take benefit out of it. Thank you.